Okay, so Emily, how are you doing? I sent you an email this morning, and if you would be kind enough to reply to the email, I just want to verify that you are receiving my emails. The email basically tells you that I put a recorded session in last night for you, and I'm going to be recording this session, and I will be in Blackboard tomorrow evening. So if you would get that email, just reply to me so I know that you're getting the emails, and I appreciate it very much. What I want to do today is I want to do a very quick review of what I did last night, and then I'm going to move forward with showing you how and I did a little of this last night, so I'm going to do that as a review as well, showing you how I would approach putting my graphics onto my box model. And I rendered a 3D model for you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that one more time so that you could actually see me do this. And I think I did it fairly clearly, but after I did it, I thought to myself, maybe I didn't explain it all well enough. So I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to try to explain it in as close detail as I can so that you can try to do this for yourself, because I think you're really going to like it when you actually create this thing. Plus, I also have my labels that I created for that 3D bottle, and I want to, in the end, apply that to the bottle to show you how that gets done. Then finally today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to render a 3D model of this box using the 3D extrude and bevel tools. Now, this is something that I should be doing in later weeks. The reason I'm doing it week 2 is because I want you to have access to this as early as possible so that you can actually go in and try to play with this a little bit, so that when you reach week 4 or week 3, whenever you're doing this, I believe it's week 4, you're going to be prepared to do it and do it very well. So by me showing you how to do this early on, you'll be better equipped to do it when it's time for you to do it. That's my thinking, at least, on this, and I hope you agree. Okay, so let me start off by closing this out. I don't tired of looking at myself. Okay, so all right, so the first thing, as I said, what I want to do is I just want to do a very quick review about this. I'm not going to go through the whole process because, to be completely honest with you, I think I did a pretty good job of demonstrating how to create this overall package layout. And again, it's important for you to understand that here is the sample that we are given. These are the actual size specifications that we are given. It's critical for you to put together a package that looks like mine, which also looks like this. It's absolutely essential that you do this. That is one of the reasons why I spent the entire night actually building mine for you, so that you could see me do it and hopefully have a pretty good idea of how to go about doing it. In reality, it is not that difficult, but when you do something like this, it's absolutely essential that you do it correct. I mean, if it doesn't end up looking like mine does, and mine looks pretty much like this, that's the whole key. If yours ends up looking as much like this as mine does, you'll get full credit. If it's anything other than this, you're not going to get the full credit, or you're going to have to correct it. Now, the important thing for you to understand is I made my box out of multiple elements. Let me go back and show you what I'm talking about. There's my original box. This element here was one element. This is a separate element. This was a separate element. This was a separate element. That was a separate element. This, and this. Each one of these things were a separate element. I overlapped them slightly, and I explained why, because in the end, what I was going to do is this. Go to the window menu, and let's go to Pathfinder. Okay, let me bring Pathfinder over here. The object of this is that once you get all these things together, all these things are correctly made in their and positioned, all correctly done. What you're going to do is you're going to select everything, the whole thing. all right? And if they're overlapping properly, you're going to come down here and you're going to click the Unite button. And in doing that, what you're going to end up with is one complete outline, die cut outline. That's what you are looking to do. This has got to be one piece. Now I'm going to go Edit Undo, okay, so that you can understand. There are multiple pieces. It takes multiple pieces to build this. By overlapping them, let me quickly show you what I'm talking about because I want to make sure you understand this. You'll see like this little shape right here. Watch this. I'm going to click on that shape, and I'm using my up arrow to move it off. See what I did? I moved it off. If this doesn't touch, or if it just touches, it's not really good enough. You have to overlap it just a tiny bit. By overlapping it just a tiny bit, like I did, it guarantees that when I combine this whole thing, it's going to become one solid piece. Go to the View menu again, Fit Artboard and Window, and let me zoom into this area one more time. All right? And then, as I say, if you do this correctly and you get everything overlapping just a bit, and I don't mean like overlapping, you know, like a ton, like just overlapping slightly. Selecting all of it, you come in here and you use the Pathfinder to unite the whole thing. You end up with this. That right there is a correct die line. Now, once you've done this, it's easy for you to select this thing and go Object, Path, Offset Path, and choose an offset of 0.125 inches, which is 1/8 of an inch. Hit OK, and there you've gone in, and I'll change this color from black to red. Let me change this to red. And you've just created, without any sweat whatsoever, okay? You've just created, without any sweat, the correct bleed area. Now, the only thing that you have to do is go in here and put your folds, all right? So I'm going to go Edit, Undo these things, Undo Offset Path, Undo Add, okay? So basically, that's what we accomplished last night. I showed you how to build all these things and how to modify all of them. If you follow my directions and do everything that I did now today, and also do everything that I did last night, you should end up looking very much like what you see up here, okay? And what I've done is I've created a series of layers, all right? I have my sample layer back here, which has this information on it. See if I hide it? I have guides. Okay, I have my guides, and it looks like I cleared my guides, so that's okay. I have my box layer. The box layer basically was what we were just on. I have a background and graphics layer because I've actually created background and graphics. That's the second part of this assignment. But I have my die layer. Here's my die layer, okay? That's the actual die cut. That's what you have to create. That's the most important thing. The second most important thing is the creation of the bleed. Because in any instance where you're going to have the color go off the page, you have to have a bleed. Very critical that you have that. And then, of course, you have to indicate the folds. There are your folds. That's going to fold there. These are going to fold. That's going to fold. All these are going to fold. This area right here, which is your glue strip, that's got to fold. And then down here, these bottom pieces all have to fold. So those three elements, die, bleed, folds, are all important. Three important elements: bleeds, trim, die line, and folds. All that's important. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. This right here will be part one of your assignment. Part two of your assignment is this: the background and the graphics. This is part two. I'm going to hide the bleed on this. This is part two, where you're going to actually put together the box. Now, again, I spoke to you about this last night. I'm going to try to explain this to you. On this thing here, I got a mistake on this. Let me fix that. I see there's a problem here. Let me go to a window, and let me go to links. Hold on. I got a bit of a problem here. So let me go to that, and let's see if I can relink this thing. Relink. Yeah, there you go. And let's see, where are you? Desktop. I think it's in DES-244. Where was it? It was, where was it? Die line hot sauce. JPEG file. Hold on. You know what? Before I do this, let me see if I can get an eyeball on this thing first. Hold on. I have a bit of a problem. I see it right there. It's it might be that one. Nope, that's not it. That's my bottle. Give me a second. Grape wine glass. Grape wine. Grapevine elements vector. Grapevine. You see if that's it. Nope. Jeez, where did it go? I know it's in here. Give me a second. Grapevine, grape wine elements, vine elements, grapevine elements, grape wine. Wine glass, wine glass, wine glass. Where are you? Huh, isn't that bizarre? I see it right there. I can't find it though. Where are you at? What is it? Nope. Where is that? Oh boy. There we go. Okay, so it's grape wine 1327. Okay, I can fix that now. All right, so let's go to relink. Okay, and I'm going to go into desktop. I'm going to go into packaging, and it's grape wine 312. There we go. Hit place, and there we go. That should do it. Now I should see that. There we go. Actually do now. Okay, so I've fixed that. All right, there we go. All right, so let me go back to what I was saying here. What I'm going to start off doing today is I'm going to start off to show you how I created this. All right. Again, this is probably something that you have some idea about, but I just wanted you to get an idea of how I approached mine and an explanation of what I'm doing so that it will make sense to you. Like, for instance, this is the front panel. Why did I put the front panel here? This is the back panel. Why did I put the back panel here? These are the side panels. Why are they the side panels here? I'm going to try to explain that to you. And this top panel, why is it upside down? There's reason for all of this. And also the elements I'm using here are very important. If you go into, let me open up my Microsoft Word real quickly. It's very important that you understand we have certain elements that we are supposed to be using on this thing. And let me open up my Chateau Vineyard. Okay, and all right, let's see. This thing, I'm going to come in here real quickly and just restore this to the color. It was all black. Let me restore all this because I did this because I made them, I changed the color as I applied them, as I used them. Okay, I just wanted to give myself a visual reference of what I've actually put in there. So I'm coming back. Okay, there we go. All right, so the important thing for you to understand is these elements, the wine type is mandatory. And if you take a look at mine is the I can't really see it because it's so far out. Let me zoom in a little bit on it. Okay, there it is, Shiraz Cabernet. All right, that's what I'm calling mine. Now, you could go with Cabernet Sauvignon or Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Merlot, Pinot Noir, whatever you want. I just happen to do this. In here, you have that explanation of wines which you could possibly use for some. If you want, you could go in and you could use that for some of the copy, although you have copy here that I think is adequate. I certainly found it to be adequate. The harvest year or the time, the date it was harvested, vintage year, I put it in 2004. It says 2012. Again, totally up to you. It's just got to be there. Estate bottled, I don't know whether I put that in there. So ultimately, that would be something I would add to it, but it's not the end of the world at this point. The name and address of bottler, I have that on my back panel. Let me close this out. I have that on my back panel right there. Okay. Let me scroll this down. I'm having a little trouble fitting everything on my screen here. All right, now, name and address of bottler. Okay, so that's there. This is vineyard designation. That's got to be on somewhere. Percent of alcohol, I have 12% by volume. I have that information on the cover there. Government warning, I have the government warning there. Keep in mind, government warning can be extremely small. It just has to be present. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to take up a lot of space, but it must be there. A barcode, another mandatory element is a barcode right there. There is a barcode generator. Very easy to do the barcode generation. It really is not that difficult to do. And then, of course, there's additional information. That additional information is what I did was I used the Chateau Vineyards type from the logo, put it up there. And then what I did was I literally just put that copy in underneath the Chateau Vineyards on the back panel, and it just talks about the actual vineyards. Okay, so if you take a look, these are the things that you need to deal with. And if you look at mine, most of my information goes on the front and on the back. The most important thing on the front is that you come up with an interesting graphic. I didn't have a photograph, so what I did was I mocked up a photograph showing a glass of wine. I used Illustrator to create this, but in the end it would probably be, and again, this is a mock-up now, this in the end would probably be a photograph. I would probably actually get a photograph and have a photograph sitting up there silhouetted against the background. Although this is kind of a nice look, I just don't think it would be good enough. I used some graphics, which I found royalty-free graphics. I used them, and this photo came from a royalty-free site, which I supplied you with. If you look in your announcements, you can go in and you can find pictures. I just chose this picture. Doesn't mean you have to. You just need to find some picture to get to fill your panels. And again, this is just like a repeat panel or repeat graphics on the panel, which just make for an interesting presentation. And now that I'm looking at this, I see one of these, this guy here, and this guy here is a little bit out of position. So I'm going to move it over slightly. And I think that's better. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so that is my layout. Now, what I was saying to you before is, first of all, I colored this. You should color this as well. I mean, it comes down to you to decide what color your graphic is going to be. You'll come up with that, and you'll color that graphic. It's totally up to you how you go about doing it. But I colored this graphic. You color your graphic, and that's the logo. And you color it any way you want. This is how I chose to color it. I thought it played off nice against this background, which I used a very dark blue of, which kind of plays off the color blue of the grapes that are being used here. Okay. I also chose to run my color everywhere. There are two places that I did not run my color. Hold on a minute. And let me go here. I did not run my color on this fold panel, the actual, what do they call it? They have a name for it. That's the top tuck flap. But just so that you understand, in order for this to look proper on the shelf when the box is put together, the color does need to print slightly onto that top tuck panel, because if you close this, if this gets printed and it comes up short, you're going to have white showing on there. It's going to look very unattractive. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to let it run a little bit onto that top tuck panel. These guys here have it running all the way across. There's no problem with that. The bottoms, I have it running all the way down to here, which are these areas that fold in. And you'll notice I went a little bit further down on them as well. And then this thing here, I also went a little bit further onto my glue flap. I did not put my color over the entire glue flap. I want you to not do that. The reason I want you to not do that is because if you put it all the way across that glue flap, there's a chance that the ink will repel the glue and the box will not stick together properly. Without the printing ink on it, the glue will stick better. So it's actually correct for you not to put the color all the way across the glue panel. Now, you probably think I'm out of my mind telling you all this stuff, but believe me, I'm not. When it comes down to this course, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain to you all the things that make most sense when you as a designer go to do this. These are all very important things, because in the end what you're doing is you're creating something that is absolutely technically correct, and your printer would be able to print this, your client would be able to accept it, and if you produce this thing the way I'm trying to walk you through the production of, you will have a piece that you can use as a project demonstrator and perhaps get you some work. Plus, you're learning the proper way to do it. It's very important for you to understand this. So I'm not just going out of my way to be fussy with this. I'm going out of my way to make sure that you're absolutely clear on what we're doing. Okay? So that is what we're shooting for. All right? That is what we're shooting for. Now, before I go and rebuild this for you, I just want to point out that if you take a look here, I have DES-244 _ week-2 assignment-billsweeney.ai. You need to make sure that you name this properly. Okay? So that's the first thing. Make sure that you name this properly. Now, I'm going to come in here. By the way, let me just refer back to this. This right here is my bottle label. And you can see I've used essentially the same information on my bottle label front and my bottle label back. This is the same information that I'm using here, okay? Really the same. The only thing that I'm not using are these graphics here because, again, I don't really have the space for all of that. And this is more than enough for the bottle, front and back. Okay, and as you can see, I got this slightly bigger, this government warning slightly smaller, and then of course down here, produced and bottled by Chateau Vineyard. I got my my type of wine, the vintage year, and the alcohol content, and whatever. Okay, so these are the pieces that I'm going to be putting on my wine bottle. There is my wine bottle. I rotated this for you last night. At some point before we're done today, I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how to do this because, again, I want to make sure that it's easy for you to recreate what I'm doing. I really want to see you do this because this is something you should know how to do. It's very important, and it'll be very valuable for you. Then the other thing I haven't done yet, I've gotten the process started, is I got these two graphics started right here. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to show you how to build a 3D box with these graphics on the box so that you can actually have a 3D model box standing next side your flat layout. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to see whether I can find my, let's go to week 2, is it? Oh, wait a minute, Wild Build, where are we at? Let's see, week 2. Let's see if it's in here. Box graphics, I think that might be it. Let's see. Ignore. Let's see what this is, if this is correct. Yeah. See that right there? That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to actually show you how to do this today. That's one of the other things I'm going to do. So in the end, when you submit to me, you're going to have this like that and this like that. All right? Now, again, what I did, this was what I did originally with this course. The only reason that I'm doing the wine bottle is because you're doing the wine bottle. And I thought, you know, if she's doing the wine bottle, maybe I'll do the wine bottle along with her, and she can watch me do it, and maybe that'll help her. All right, so these are the things, this is the things that I'm going to be doing. All right, so back to this. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my layers panel, and I'm going to hide my background layer, and I'm going to hide my graphics layer, okay? As a matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do actually. I'm going to show my graphics layer. I'm going to select this. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and select that. So I got graphics and background selected. Then I'm going to come down here. Oh, I don't have, what am I, not able to make a collect for export? No, what, I can't make a folder for that. Well, I guess I can't. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I can't do that. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to hide those layers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the die layer, and I'm going to duplicate the die layer. I'm going to drag that die layer down, and I'm going to drop it on there. It's going to call that die copy. And I'm going to call this trim, T-R-I-M, trim. Okay? Now, this trim is going to actually end up being the background. But for now, I'm going to call it trim. Once I do the actual background, I will rename it to background. Okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide the die layer, and I'm going to hide the fold layer, and I'm concentrating on the trim layer. So what I want to do with this is I want to create a background graphic, and it's going to cover the entire piece. Okay, so look what I'm doing. I'm coming out like that. Now, you see what I got here? And I'm going to come to my colors, my swatches, and I'm going to make it that dark blue color. Oh, and by the way, you got to have it on fill. It's my fault. There we go. Okay, so it's on that blue color. All right? This problem I have is that I just created this color right here, and it is in front of this trim line. Okay, now if I select the trim line, here's what I want you to see. The color goes all the way to the edge here, goes all the way to the edge here. It goes to just past that fold right there on that flap, and it goes just past the fold on my glue strip. And you notice my glue strip does not have any of that color on it. Again, that's what I'm looking for. And this thing here at the bottom comes right below where these boxes fold together. So now this is in the proper place. The only problem is I need to take this object right here, okay, and I need to move that in front of this area of color. So I'm going to go Edit, Cut, and then I'm going to click on this and go Edit, Paste in Front. So now that line, if you look carefully, you can see it. The line is actually in front of that blue area of color. Okay, so this is going to be my background, and what I've done for my background is I've made the entire thing that blue color. So I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to go to the Object menu. I'm going to go down to Clipping Mask, and I'm going to choose Make. Now, what a clipping mask does is, and I'll show you, watch. There. What a clipping mask does is it takes the shape. Let's go Edit, Undo so you can see. Okay. What it does is it takes that black shape right there, and it uses that black shape to stop showing the color that's behind it. So in other words, on the inside of that black line, you're going to see the color. But when you get to the outside of that black line, that color is going to be clipped away, and it is called a clipping mask. Now, what is important for you to understand is in order to make this clipping mask work properly, that shape right there has to be one continuous shape all the way around. That's why when I went to the trouble of building this in different pieces, I overlapped them, select them all, and went into the Pathfinder panel, and I combined them to make one solid piece so that I could come in here and I could make this clipping mask to clip that background color. I hope that makes sense to you. So once again, Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And, I'm sorry, I didn't get both of them selected. Let's go try it again. There we go. What's it not selecting? Yeah, it is. Object, I think it is. Object, Clipping Mask, Make. There we go. Okay, so there is my background. My clipping mask is made. Now, if I come into my Layers panel, and if I put my die back on, okay, now you're looking at the die which is on the other layer. So what you end up with is, you end up with the exact same thing as I have on my background right here, where there's white here. You don't need the color here because it's going to be all folded in together at the bottom, and you're not going to see it. This area here should not have any color on it because it's going to get glued there, and you don't want this ink over where the glue is going to be applied. And since this thing folds inside the box, all you need to do is go beyond where it folds, and I went a good bit beyond it, probably about 1/8 of an inch, and that's fine when you put this whole together. So this means that my entire box is going to be this nice blue color. Okay? Now, I'm going to come up to the very top here, and I'm going to bring my folds forward. There's my folds. Now, if you look at this, this shows you exactly what this box is going to look like when it folds up. You've got all your fold lines indicated here. Okay? I have that on its own separate layer up at the top. So I'm going to lock that fold layer so I can't mess with it. I'm going to lock my die layer so that I can't mess with it. And I now have my trim layer, which I'm going to change to background. And I know I already have a background layer right there, but the point is I'm doing this again to show you the process. So this we're going to pretend doesn't even exist. There's my background. It's exactly the same as this. I went through the same process to do it. I don't expect you, I mean, you can make it like I did with the color overhaul thing. You can make it different if you want. You could have different colors here. You could do whatever you want to do. It's your design, not mine. I did it this way because that's the way I want my box to look. I want the color to be solid all the way around. I want it to be very high class and very dark and very formal looking. So that's why I did what I did. All right, now above the background layer, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call this graphics. And now this graphic layer is where I am going to apply all of my graphics. So I'm going to start off by locking the background layer, and really all the layers that are showing, my fold layer, my background layer, and my die layer, they're all locked. Okay, now the guide layer is not showing, and the sample layer, I'm hiding that too. Okay, so really the only thing that's showing is the die layer, the background layer, and the fold layer. The graphic layer is also showing, but there's nothing on it yet. I want to make sure I'm on that layer because that's the layer that's not locked. That's the layer where I'm going to start placing elements. So I'm going to go to my Chateau Vineyard, because in my Chateau Vineyard, I've already come in here and I've already laid out all of my elements. So this is what my elements are going to look like. All I really need to do is copy and paste these elements into my layout and adjust them to fit the panels. So again, I started by making these labels. I've done out all my thinking. This is what I want it to look like. Now it's just a matter of readjusting everything to go into the box. I want the box and I want these labels to coordinate nicely to make one cohesive package. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look over my layers here. I have a background layer, okay, and actually this layer here, okay, that's grouped. So let me do this. Let me go select this thing and let me go. Hold on. Let me. Oh, it's not grouped, is it? All right. Let me click on that guy. Let's go Object, Unlock All. That's what it is. It's unlocked. Okay. So let's bring that down to the background layer. I'm going to bring that background down to the background layer, and I'm also going to bring that down to the background layer. Okay. All right. So when I hide this, there, my backgrounds are gone, okay? So I'm not going to be bringing these backgrounds in. I don't want these backgrounds. I want these elements right here. These are the elements that I want. Backgrounds are only going to be used on these labels. So I've got all of my background elements, which is that blue, and that darker blue. They're all moved down to the background layer. The text layer, I should change it actually because it's more than text. I'm just going to call this images and text. Okay, so images and text layer, all right? And what I'm going to do is lock the background layer. The reason I lock that layer is because now I can come in here and I can select these elements like that, and I can go edit copy, and then I can come into my assignment and I can go edit paste. There, and now I've pasted that in. And you see it just landed anywhere that I want. So let me, before I do anything with this, let me just move it out of the way for a second and let me quickly talk about this layout. All right, here's the deal. That right there is the top of your box. This is the part that you open up to access the wine. When you open this up, you pull the wine out from the top. Okay, so more than likely, because this thing here is attached to that panel right there, that means that it's going to open that way. And you're going to have access, you're going to see the inside here. So that would mean that this panel right here is opposite this panel right here. That would make that panel the front. That would make that panel the back. Now, these are just side panels, and you can put anything you want on the side panels. In my particular case, I made my side panels decorative. I put most of my nice information on my front and my back panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to place it on my front, and I'm going to try to place it roughly in the center, about like that, okay? So there I have it, and I probably zoom in on this a little bit so I can get a better look at it. And what I probably should do with this thing is I should probably, let's see, everything else is locked. Yes, I'm in good shape. I should probably enlarge this some. So I'm going to hit the scale tool, and I made this 130%. I think that's a little too big. So I'm going to bring it back down to 125%. 125% and hit OK. Yeah, I think that's much better. And I think it's too high, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down to right about there. That's probably pretty good. Okay? And I am going to, since I'm on the graphics layer, I'm just going to hide this. And I'm going to bring this thing up a little bit. All right? And I'm going to take my copy and this copy here, and I'm going to move that copy down a little bit. And what I'll probably do with this is this copy here, this Shiraz Cabernet, probably needs to be a little bit bigger. So I've made that 125%, and I've hit OK. So now that's a little bit bigger, okay? And what I did was I created some graphics that went with this. So let me show you how I did the graphics. Let me go File, Open, and let me go into my, let's see, what do we got here? Packaging, I think it's week 2. Let's see, grape wine elements. Is that it? Vector? Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you see I have these graphic elements that I found online. And what I did was this. Watch. I come in here and I click on this. This is a bitmap. And what I want to do is I want to trace this off so I can utilize these elements. So I select it first of all, go to the Object menu, and I go down to Image Trace, and I choose Make. And it traces them. And it does a pretty decent job, but you can see it's not doing a perfect job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Properties. And in my Properties down here, you see there's an Image Trace area. And I have the presets, and this is set to default. So what I think I want to do with this to make this a lot easier, this is what's known as the Image Trace panel. So I click to open the Image Trace panel, and I bring the Image Trace panel up, and I have a bunch of settings down here. Now, I want these to be black and white to start off with, but I have this advanced area, and I have the threshold. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to adjust the threshold. I'm going to raise it. I'm going to bring it up to about 200. Let's see what I get when I get 200. 207. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, see, that's much better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try lowering the paths for a second. Let's see what that does. No, it's going in the wrong direction. I'm going to bring the paths up because I want it to be clean. That's pretty clean. The corners, I'll bring the corners up some. Okay, that actually is good. And let me bring the noise all the way down. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, that's not bad. So you see what I did essentially was I used black and white. I upped the threshold some, and I could probably try bringing the threshold down a little bit. Let's see if I get, yeah, see what's happening is I'm getting a slightly better look at those little veins. I'm going to bring this down a little bit more. Yeah, that's even a little bit better. Still, I'm still pretty good. So I've taken my threshold, and I've upped my threshold, I've upped my paths, my corners I've upped, and I brought my noise down. The way I'm doing this is by looking at these graphics. That's the only way you can do it. You'll get a feel for this as you do it. But this is the Image Trace panel, and that's how you can adjust these graphics. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go to the Object menu, I'm going to go to Image Trace, and I'm going to hit Expand. And now what I've done, literally, is I've converted this into vector art. This is all vector art now. So I can go to the Object menu and go Ungroup, and now I can select the white, and I can delete that white area. First, I got to go Object Ungroup. I did that already. Okay. So I click on this, and I hit Delete. And now let's see if there's any white anywhere else here. I think there's some white in here. There is. So go to the Object menu, and go to the Select menu. Sorry, Select menu, same fill color. Okay, so there's all my fill colors that's still in there, and I'm going to hit Delete, and now that's all gone, and all I have now are these areas right here. Okay, and what I've done is I've utilized some of these graphics for some of my package. I think what I did was this one right here. Let's go Edit Copy, and let me go into my assignment here. And I think what I did was, let me move this down towards the bottom. Let me close this up for a second. And let me move this up a little bit, bring this down. All right, I don't remember exactly where I put this. Let me go, I think I did it here, edit, paste. There we go. And I think what I did was something like this. I'm not really sure. But at any rate, there it is. And what I did was I came into my color, and I have these colors. I got this purple color, and that wine color. And this is now set to black. It's got a black fill on it. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to give it that blue color. Okay. So now it's blue, but the problem is the blue is the exact same color as the background. If I go to my color panel right here, I can do this. I can come in here and I can go grayscale, RGB, HSB, and CMYK. Now, each one of these is valuable in some way. What makes HSB valuable is this. Watch. I click on it, and I get hue, saturation, and brightness. So what I'm looking for is I don't want to mess with the hue. I don't want to mess with the saturation, but what I want to do is I want to adjust the brightness on this. What that means essentially is I'm going to take that color, which is that color, and I'm going to adjust the brightness of it. Watch what happens. I'm going to drag it down, and the color is going to become lighter and brighter. And when I reach a certain point, I can click it off, and I get something like that, which is beautiful against that background color. And it's the exact same way that I dealt with this Shiraz Cabernet 2004 and this guy right here. Okay, so now I've got this element right there, and what I want to do is I want to place my wine glass into that cover. So let me go File, Open, right here, and let me see if I can find my wine glass. Let's see if I can, wine glass 1, I think that's it. Hit Open. There it is. Okay, so I don't want this background, but I want the wine glass right there. So I'm going to select that wine glass. I'm going to go Edit, Copy. Then I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to go Edit, Paste. And there's my wine glass. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my wine glass into position, something like this. And probably the thing to do would be to take this guy here and bring this thing down towards the bottom, like that, and maybe adjust the size of it. And I think probably what I want to do with this is I probably want to take this guy here. First of all, I got to group it. Group this thing. There we go. Object, Group. Okay. And maybe move this down. Move this down to below that wine glass. All right. Let me bring it down significantly. I'll adjust this in a second. Then I'm going to click on this guy, which is grouped. It's not grouped. Okay, son of a gun. Okay, let me group that. Object, I think I got it all. Yeah. Object, Group. There we go. Now I can move that up. There we go. Move it up until it's right about there. And then I can further adjust this guy until it goes down to about there. And then go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, because this came in after, and I wanted it to be hidden underneath that. Now I can take this thing, and I can adjust this guy up a little bit to about there. And maybe what I'll do, let me close the image trace panel. I can resize this thing. I probably want it to be a little bit bigger, so let's make it 135. See how that looks. Hit OK. I think that's good. Let's go View, Fit Artboard and Window. And there's the front. Let me zoom in so you can see the front. This is the front panel of my wine bottle. Now, is it a great design? No, it's really not a great design. But the point that I'm trying to make is right now what we're doing is we're producing mock-ups. We're producing a mock-up for your box. And what I'm interested in seeing is I'm interested in seeing how you prepare the front, the back, and the side panels as well as the top. All right, so this is basically my front, all right? And again, I would look at yours and I would make modifications to it or make suggestions as to how you would improve it, just as somebody would do it to mine. This is the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place, and then I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to move it up here, all right? And I'm going to rotate it around. I'm going to rotate it all the way around. Now, the reason I'm rotating this thing, and actually Control Z, I messed this up, Control Z. I didn't get the whole thing. There we go. Now let's go Edit Copy. Let's go Edit Paste in Place. And now let's go Object Group. Okay, now we got it. Bring it up here, like that. Okay, and I'm going to rotate it around like that. Now, the reason I'm doing this, and let me move it into position properly, right about like that. Let me move it this way slightly, like that. Okay, now, the reason that I'm putting it upside down like that is because the piece opens this way, looking that way, looking down. So what you want is you want this to be facing the front. Why? By having it upside down like this, it's going to face the front. That's the top of your bottle. That's the front of your bottle. This becomes the back of your box, not bottle, box. So this becomes the back of your box. And then, of course, these are your sides. All right? So there we have my front and we have my top. This is the kind of thing that you're going to do. So let me come in here and let me find my elements, my other elements here. And let's see, I think that is locked. Let's see if it is. Yeah, I guess that's on that layer. Okay, so that's got to move up to that layer. Okay, so that ought to do it. Yeah, okay, now we're good. Let's lock it. I think now I got it. Let's take all those and let's go Edit Copy again. And let's go into here and let's go Edit Paste again. There, and now I'm going to move this stuff over to here. And what I'm going to do with that is this. I'm going to deselect the whole thing in a minute. There we go. I'm going, oop, I missed something. I'll be darned. Let's go Edit, Undo, Move, Edit, Undo, Paste. Let's go back into this. All right, I think this guy here is also on my background. So I got to get that guy in the background. I got him. Yeah, so that's in the wrong layer too. All of this should be on that layer. There we go. Now I got it all. I'll go Edit, Copy, and now come into here, Edit, Paste. There we go. Now I got it all. Bring it up here, somewhere in that neighborhood, right about there. And then I'm going to deselect it. I'm going to take these bottom three elements, okay, and I'm going to move them way down towards the bottom, right down to here, okay, and maybe recenter it. And I probably will make it a tiny bit bigger, okay. Maybe 135 is too much. Let's make it 120 and hit OK, and that's probably good right there. So there's my stuff on the bottom. I might want to just move it over a little bit. That's probably a little bit better. Now this guy right here, I want to open this up, bring that down a little bit, okay? And what I want to do with this is I want to select both of them, and I want to enlarge this, and I'm going to probably make this 135. 135. Hit OK. There we go. That's probably pretty good right there. Yes, I like that. And I'm going to select this and this, move it down some, and I'm going to move it over some until it's visually centered. Remember, this is a mock-up, so you don't have to be like 100% on the money. You're just basically putting this together so that, you know, I get a sense of what it is that you're doing. Look at the elements. We got our branding element here. We have our branding element here. We have our name, Chateau Vineyards here. We have our romance copy here. We have our government warning here. We have our barcode here. We have our address here. We have our name and our year. We have a nice image here. We have some graphics that we're beginning to work into the overall scheme of things. And we have the alcohol content and whatnot down at the bottom. So all of our stuff has been addressed. Now it's just a matter of decorating these sides and putting an image into here, and we have our full package. So I'm going to quickly do that. I'll go File, Place, and I'm going to look for my photo. Let's see here. Great, what was it? Oh boy, Great Wine. I think it was that place. Yeah, click that. There we go. Okay, so now I have it. It's too big. So what I'm going to do is use the scale tool, and I'm going to start by placing it right about here and holding down the shift key. Holding down the shift key, I'm going to scale it down until it fits like about like that. Then I'm just going to drop it down into position. Drop it down to about here. Okay, maybe I'll bring it down to about here. Okay, and then what I can do with this is I can drop this down a little bit further. Drop both of these down a little bit. Oops, there we go. Drop that down a little bit further, about like that. Let me bring my guide out. Let's see where the top of that is. Top of that is right about there. So let's go View, Guides. Where are we at here? View, Guides, Show Guides. There we go. Okay, so this is going to come down to about there. That's probably pretty good. And maybe what I'll do is I'll maybe move this down a little bit. And maybe what I will do to make this thing fit a little bit bigger would be to take this thing and go to the window type character and let me open up the leading. This is 10 over 8, 10 and 8 over 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. And now let's see if I open this up. There we go. I think that'll be a little bit better. That's probably pretty good. And then maybe what we'll do with this is move it up some, move it up a little bit like that. And there we have our back. Let's go to View, Guides, Clear Guides. And of course, it's not going to clear. What is it, on a locked layer? Probably on a locked layer. Let's see if I can get that guide to go away. View, Guides, Hide Guides. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's lock all those layers again. There we go. Let me bring that. Oops. Let me hide all those. Lock them all. So I think die layer is good. Yeah, there we go. That layer is good. Good. Yep. And that layer is good. And then, of course, we have our folds. Okay, so now, so there's my front, there's my back. Like I say, don't expect this thing to be perfect the first time you do it. This is a mock-up. And again, you're going to play around with this thing. I'm going to look at it, and you're going to, I'll give you my assessment of what I think of it, and you can make any adjustments that are required. Now, the last thing that I did here was I created a repeating pattern on these two side panels, all right? So I lock the background again, and I'm going to concentrate on this graphic layer. So I'm going to go File, Open. Oh, wait a minute, I already have it open. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. I have this open. Okay, so what I did was this. Watch. I clicked on this, and I clicked on this, all right? And I went Edit, Copy. And I come in here, and I went Edit, Paste. There it is. Now, I've got this thing, and it's in black, and I'm going to move it over to here, just like that. And I'm going to go Object, Group, all right? Once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my swatches, and I'm going to apply that dark blue color to it, okay? So it's dark blue. If I deselect this thing, you can't see anything because it's that dark blue. But what I can do, I can go to my color panel, and I'm using HSB again, okay? HSB again, right? And I'm actually going to come in here, and I'm going to drag this thing down, and I'm going to make it lighter. So it's something like that, all right? Yeah, HSB. And then what I want to do is I want to click on this thing, go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place, and I want to move it down, okay? And then what I want to do is I want to see if I can just rotate this thing around. There we go. See, I can just rotate this thing around, something like that. Okay? And now I have that great little repeating pattern right there. And I'm going to then take this guy right here and go Edit. Oh, actually, I don't need to do that. I can just go Edit, Paste in Place. There, and I got another one. And now I'm going to bring this down, and I have this repeating again. All right? And then I'm going to click on this guy, Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place, and I'm going to bring that down, and I have that repeating again here, okay? Once I get them distributed properly, so I believe these things are grouped, aren't they? Yes, they are, okay. So I'm going to click on this. First of all, what I want to do is I want to take this guy, and I want to move it up a little bit, bring it up to about here, and this one probably is a little bit low, so let me bring that one up. Right about like that. That is probably pretty good. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on this and click on this and click on that. I got all 4 of them selected. Go to the window menu, and I want to go to Align. And what I want to do is I want to distribute these guys. I want to distribute them right here. Distribute, vertical, distribute, center. And actually, it didn't work. That's not good. So what I guess I have to do is I have to do this by eye because it just didn't work. So I'm going to come up and bring it to about there. And then I'm going to bring this guy down to about here. I'm going to have to probably visually do this a little bit. That's probably pretty good. And this guy is probably going to have to come down just a tiny bit like that. And again, this is a mock-up, so don't worry about it being perfect. But there you have it. Now, the other thing that I did was I came in here with my group selection tool. I'm almost done with this, by the way. Came in with my group selection tool. With my group selection tool, I clicked on this, and I select that leave right there. And then what I did was I went here, and I created a lighter version of the leaf like that. And then what I did was I clicked on this stem. And actually, let me see what it says it is here. It's 58.4. Let me make a note of that. 58.04. All right. Actually, I'm just going to make it 58. Make it a little easier. 58. There we go. 58. Okay. So I grabbed the stem. All right. I got to grab the stem. There we go. And I'm going to change it from 38 to 58. And then I'm going to click on that. See what it's doing? It's changing the value of this. This is a 4-color process job. So if I wanted to, I could even introduce a different color to this. But I think I want to just keep it all within this color scheme because I like it very much. This guy here is 58. I guess that's already 58. Let's see if it is. Let's see here. Hold on. Let me click on that. There we go. 58. Make that 58. 58. All right. And then, yeah, see, that's good. And then this guy here is going to be 58. Whoops. Again, make sure you get the group selection tool because it is grouped. Click on that. And let's go 58. 58. And then deselect it. Perfect. Okay. So now you see I got a really nice thing happening on my side panel. So what I want to do now is I want to select this and hold down the Shift key and select that, and let's go, for the heck of it, Object Group. So now I've grouped this thing. Let's go Edit Copy, or better yet, we don't even have to do that. Let me just go into my Reflect tool, and let me bring my Reflect tool up, and I got the wrong one. Let me hit the Reflect tool. All right, Reflect tool, and I reflected this thing. Yeah, that's right, and hit copy. There we go. And now I'm going to just walk this over until I get onto the other panel. And you see what I did was I reflected it so both of them face each other and in contrast. See how they both face the same direction? So there is my full package done. Is it a beautiful package? Is it an intuitive package? It's certainly not the best package design I've ever done. But the important thing is that you understand that you have a front panel right there, and the front panel has information on it. That's the information that you want. The back panel has information on it. This is the kind of information you want on the back. This thing here, this is your lid, okay, your actual top of your box. That is in association with the back panel. And in order for this to work properly, this graphic should be facing that way, facing out that way, so that it matches up with the front panel right here. And then these are your 2 side panels. Do you have to have any information on these or down here? Not at all. You really don't. You really need the information here and on these panels. These are your sides. That's your front. That's your back. Okay? So I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to call this thing underscore done. Okay, and hit save. And hit OK. And now let's go View, Fit, Artboard, and Window. Hold on, it's saving. There we go. Okay, so there's my my package. That's my final package. Now, what I want to do next is I want to create a box. I want to create a 3D box. So the important thing to keep in mind is that our box size was 4 inches wide by 12.4 inches. So once again, I'm going to get this tool, click here, and I'm going to type in 4 inches. Whoops, I hit the wrong one. Let's hit 3, 4, hit. There we go. 4 by 12.04. 12.4. Okay, I think that was it. Let me see if it is. See if I'm right. Is it right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's that color right there is not correct. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put the color that's correct on it. So there's my color. Okay, that is my panel. Now, if you look over here, I have these two things, and what these basically are, let me go to my layers panel, and let me see if I can figure out where they're locked to. I think they're probably, let me unlock all the layers first. Oh, wait, I see it. I see it. I think I see them. Hold on, let me just go to my fold layer. I think it's on the fold layer. Yes, it is. Okay, so let me explain what I have here. All right, this is kind of important. So what I did was, this is going to be turned into, I'm going to render this into a 3D box, and it's going to be a 3D box of this graphic right here. All right, let me first of all go back to my layers panel and let me show my die again. There we go. Okay, so now you're looking at this thing and you're seeing what this thing should look like. Let me move it over a little bit. All right, so I've created one panel, just a flat panel in that color. This is what I'm going to use to extrude into a 3D box. This is kind of important. Now, these things here, what these are actually graphics that I'm going to apply to my surface of my box, okay? Now, how I did this is very simple. All I did was I created a transparent shape, which is the same size as that panel right there. See it? Same size. It's transparent, though. And I put my elements on it, all right? I put my elements on it, and that is my graphic, which is going to apply to that box. Now, let me show you how I did it so it doesn't confuse you, all right? I'm going to make my top box. So this is 4 by 4. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to make a 4 by 4 inch frame, 4 by 4, and hit OK. So there's my 4 by 4 inch frame. All right, now I don't want this thing to be blue. I want it to be no color. So with the fill forward, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to remove the color. For a moment, though, what I am going to do is I'm going to put a black stroke on it so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go Edit Copy, Edit Paste in Place. Then I'm going to drag this thing over, and I'm going to place this in front of that object about where I want it to be, which will be something like that right there. Okay, so now I have a frame right there with a black stroke on it, which I'm going to remove in a minute, and I have my graphic on top of that. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to remove that stroke. So now it's a frame. It's still a frame, but it has no color on it. I'm going to group it, Object Group, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my Symbols panel. And if you look at my Symbols panel, I have what's called front cover, and that right there is the front cover. That is my side, and that's my side. This is going to be my top. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to drag and drop it into here, and I get my Symbol Options dialog box. And I'm just going to rename this Top. And it's going to be, it doesn't matter if it's a movie clip, but I like to make them graphic. So it's going to be Top Graphic, and then I'm just going to hit OK. Now, you'll see I have a new symbol here. Now, the reason that I'm putting this symbol in here is because I am going to render this as a 3D box, and I'm going to attempt to put my graphics on surfaces of this box so that I can make this look like a 3D rendering of a box. Let me move it over here a little bit, and let me delete these because I don't need them anymore. There are my symbols. All right. Now watch this. If I wanted to, I can just click and I can drag that symbol out. See, there's that symbol. I can drag that symbol out. There's that symbol. I can drag that symbol out. There's that symbol. Okay. So when I throw these away, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference because I still have them in here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on this guy. I'm going to go to the Effect menu, and I'm going to go to 3D, and this one is going to be 3D Extrude and Bevel. And I get the 3D Extrude and Bevel dialog box. I'm going to hit Preview, and there is my box. Now what I want is, I want an off-axis front, but I want it to go off-axis, let's try it off-axis left. That's too much. So I'm going to come back and do a custom. I'm trying to get this thing set up custom. I'm just dragging it around. Let me go, actually, let me go to off-axis front again. There we go. And let me see if I can maybe make this thing a little bit better for me. I want it something more like that. And I want it to be straight. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because you have to try to get this thing just the way you want it. Bring it up a little bit, and like this. That's probably pretty good. And now what I want to do is I want to extrude depth. I want to create the extrude depth. So I'm going to bring it out to about 100. There's 143. There, I'm bringing it out, 170. Keep going. I need it to be almost square. So let's see. We're close, and that's probably pretty close right there, I'm going to guess. Okay? Now, what I want to do here is I want to also put a little perspective in it. Let me drag it perspective over a little bit. That's probably too much. That's probably good right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit OK for a second, because I just want you to see what I got. See what I got here? Let me zoom in on this so that you can see a little bit better. See what I got? I rendered a 3D object, and the 3D object is the size of my piece. Now I can make this thing bigger by just scaling it up. I'm going to actually make this thing a little bit bigger by scaling it up. Okay, there it is. Let me go to View. Let's go zoom out, and let's see what we got. There it is. Okay, so there's my 3D object. Now, what I want to do is I want to put these objects on the surface. So what I'm going to do is go to the Window menu, and I'm going to open up my Appearance panel. This is very important for you to understand. If I were to take this thing and go back up to Effects and go to 3D Extrude and Bevel, I'll put another Extrude and Bevel on this. That's not the correct way to do this. Once you have a 3D Extrude and Bevel on something like this, you go into the Appearance panel, and you can see right here it says 3D Extrude and Bevel. I click on that, and it brings me back into the 3D Extrude and Bevel Options dialog box. I hit Preview, and it brings me back to my settings. Now I'm just going to go to Map Art. And on this Map Art, I got different surfaces. And actually, it looks to me like this surface, see the red line right there? That's showing me my different surfaces. I got 6 surfaces. I got a front, a back, 2 sides, a top, and a bottom. Surface number 1 appears to be the front of this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this is where my symbols are. And I'm going to choose front cover, and I'm going to put front cover, and I'm going to scale it to fit. And it actually is too big, so I'm going to carefully drag this thing down and make it a little bit smaller like that. And then I'm just going to position the thing on the page so that it looks right. Something like that. And actually, I'm losing the bottom of it. I lost the bottom of this thing somehow. I must not have got, oh, I see what it is. I have the information up there and not at the bottom. I see what the deal is. Okay. Well, that's all right, I guess. So anyway, this is the one that I did last night. So I'm going to now come in, and I'm going to find my side surface right there. So let me come over here, and let's go to surface number 2. See, surface number 2 is the back. Now I don't have a back on here, so I'm just going to keep going. And there's on the other side, I don't see that. There's 3, there's 4, there's the bottom, and there's 5, there's the side. I'm going to come in here, click on this, and I want to be side 1, and this guy has to rotate around. So it's got to be rotated like this. Got to rotate this thing, and there we go. I got it. There we go. It's rotated, and then what I need to do is, I think I got it backwards, so I got to rotate it the other way. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually have to flip that. Let me just drag this thing up a bit. There we go. And let me drag this thing out like that a little bit. There we go. And now hit OK. There we go. And let me just quickly see what we got. Let's just see what we got. There's my 3D revolved. Let's just go. This thing here, what I would do is, if you notice, my leaves are facing in the wrong direction. They should be facing in. So watch how I fix this. This is not a really big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my symbol, right? And I'm going to click on my side symbol to bring my side symbol out. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to reflect it. I'm just going to reflect it and hit OK. And I'm going to go out. And now that's been reflected. When I come back into my, watch what happens. I'll come in here. I'll click on this. I'll go to my window appearance. There we go. And double click on the 3D, hit preview. All right. And notice that automatically it swapped it. It changed it. It's now facing in the proper direction. I just hit OK. And now I deselect it. And there you go. Watch this. View, fit, artboard, and window. I personally think that's pretty slick. There you go. Now there is what I would love to see you produce. If you could produce something like this, that would be phenomenal. You can do this. It is not difficult. It is just following the steps that I just went through with you to make this happen. What you're doing is you're making a couple of graphics that apply to your 3D box. I am going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing with the bottle. And then I'm going to apply my labels to the bottle. And you'll see me do that as well. And then what I'll do is I'll bring the bottle in and put the bottle into this thing. Let me go to my layers. Let me see if I got my layers. Okay, so I got all that. There we go. And I'm going to actually just drag this all over to here so I can accommodate my bottle. Now I'm going to go File, Save. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my bottle. I'm going to place a bottle in here in a minute. So here's my bottle. This is the bottle I did last night. So really the bottle is almost ready to go. Maybe what I would do with this bottle is come in here and I would play around with that color. Let's make that color a little bit more on the purple side because I think it probably would look a little bit better if it were more of a purpley bottle. That's something like that maybe would be good. Let's see, make it a nice dark purpley color like the other. That might be cool. That's probably good right there. Hit OK. Yeah, see that? Well, that's too much, I think. Let's back it up a bit. Let's see. That's probably cool. That'll work. There we go. All right, now what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to demonstrate how to revolve this thing again because I think I did this a little bit fast last night. So the first thing is I've got a bunch of bottles here. All right, I got a bunch of them. And I'm going to try another bottle just for the heck of it. Just, you know, make things a little interesting. I'll try a different bottle. I think what I'll probably do is this bottle over here. All right, so I'm going to come over here, and I am going to bring a guide out, and I'm going to hang that guide approximately in the middle of that bottle, right there. Okay, now I'm going to go to the View menu. I'm going to go Guides, and I'm going to show the guides. There's my guides. See, this is the one I did last night. This is the one I'm going to do today. Now, here's the thing that you have to understand. I'm going to revolve this thing instead of extruding it. I'm going to revolve it. And this thing needs to be facing the side. So when I create this thing, I'm not worried about getting any, see how this has got a curved bottom and how this curve, I'm not worried about any of the curves. The only thing I'm worried about is the actual profile here. This is what's important is I get a good profile right here, okay? The bottom can be straight across and all this can be straight across because that'll all be taken care of when the revolve takes place, okay? So I'm going to come in here and zoom in, and I'm just going to use the rectangle tool to do this, right? And I want the rounded rectangle tool. And in order to do this correct, I want to go a little bit further away from the edge of this thing. I want to go a little bit further out than the guide in the middle, all right? It's important that you do this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, let's see here. I want to just delete that. Let me actually use this guy, I think. Let me try that one. Let me see if that one has the, yeah, there we go. Let me direct selection on it. No, well, you're being a real pain in the butt. All right, so it's this guy. All right, let me try it again. Come in here, let's drag this thing out. And I'm using the up and down arrows to round the corner on that, all right? I use the up and down arrows to round the corner on that, okay? So there's that, and I'm actually going to make this thing deeper, okay? So now I have that. That represents my top piece, and I'm going to actually move it over a tiny bit like that, okay? So there's the first part of my cap area right there. all right? And don't worry about it being absolutely perfect. You just want to make it very similar. So I'm going to come in here now with this, and I'm going to drag to create another area right about like that, all right? Right about like that. There we go. Okay, so now I have that area right there, and I've gone a little far with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to back it off a tiny bit. There we go. Notice I'm way over here. All right, now let me go to my layers panel, and yeah, so let's hide this. See what I got so far? Look at my guide. See how they both go past the guide? That's important because I'm going to cut this stuff off in a minute. So bring this back. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a regular old straight rectangle tool. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to draw a straight rectangle to right about there. Okay, and now let's take a look at what we got. There's my cap. There is my cap area, my area where the bottle comes up and where my cap goes. So what I'm going to do now is come in here and I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to scroll this thing down, and let me go view, zoom out so I can actually see this. View, zoom out. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to actually create the profile of this bottle. This is where it gets a little bit tricky because what you're going to do is you're going to use the pen tool to do this. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get the pen tool, and I'm going to bring the pen tool out, and I'm going to select the pen tool, and I'm going to come in here to about that point, and then I'm just going to come down to about here, and I'm going to drag to create the first part of that profile right there. Don't worry about it being perfect. You want it to be similar. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Then I'm just going to drag this thing until I get that area of the profile right there. All right, and actually I'm having a little trouble with it. Yeah, there we go. Let me see. Keep messing with it until you get it just the way you want it. I guess that's probably pretty good. Click on that, and then you're just going to come all the way down to the bottom here, really far down, and then I'm just going to come around slightly. I just want a little bit of roundness at the bottom of this thing, and then I'm going to click, and I'm just going to come straight over to a little bit past here, and then I'm going to come back up to here, and then I'm just going to come over and I'm going to close that shape. So let's see what we come up with. Let's hide my layers. And you see what I got? Except I got a really bad spot right there. So I'm going to see if I can fix that a little bit. So let's see if I can do something about that. So I'm going to come in here with my direct selection tool, and I'm going to click on this, and let's see what I can do with that. Oh, wrong tool. Hold on, let me bring it out. Yeah, I want my direct selection tool. See if I can fix this somewhat. There we go. Yeah, so I want to do something maybe a little bit more like this. Let's see here. That's a little bit better. And then this guy here probably needs to come down slightly. Come down more slightly. That's a little bit better. That looks a little bit better, although it's not great. The other thing that I could do with this is this. And I don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to try the smooth tool. See, there we go. That actually helped. And I'm going to drag the smooth tool here. That actually helped, okay? So I use this tool called the smooth tool, and what the smooth tool does is it just goes through those points and it smooths them out slightly, okay? Now, remember, this is a profile. So right now this is a closed object. We don't want this to be a closed object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the top 3 items. I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to go to Pathfinder, okay? And I'm going to combine them into one piece like that. So now I have one piece. That's the profile that I'm looking for the top of this bottle. This is the profile that I'm looking for the bottom of the bottle. And I don't have to do anything with that except maybe move it down slightly to get it in position better, about like that. That's good. There we go. All right, now what I want to do is I want to create an open shape on both of these objects. I don't want them to be closed. To do that, I'm going to come in here to where the eraser tool is, and I'm going to get the scissors tool. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to click right on that line, that guideline. I missed it. Click right on the guideline there. Okay. And then I'm going to come down to here and I'm going to click on that guideline. Now watch. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to delete it. And I end up with that open shape. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Get the scissors tool. I'm doing it on the bottom part, the bottle part. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click. And then I'm going to go to the bottom. And I'm going to carefully click right there. Whoops, I missed it again. Got to make sure you get right on that line. Oh, I missed it again. It's a little hard to get sometimes, but you'll get it. I did miss it again. Let me zoom in because it's being a pain. Now let me try it one more time. Let me get it. Boom. Oh, missed it again. There. Got it that time. So it's tricky. And delete that. And now go View, Fit, Artboard, and Window. Now let's go back to this. And here's what I'm going to do. I am going to close this because I'm done with it. Close this. I'm going to actually select both of these objects right here. All right. And I'm going to bring them over next to this bottle here so that you can see what's going on. So I'm using my shift right arrow to bring it over. Okay? Bring it over. Keep it going a little bit further. It's giving me trouble because it's going through that other rendering. There we go. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and I'm going to click on this and I've made that yellow. Okay? See? And then I'm going to click on this and I'm going to click on that, make it blue. Okay? Now I made this first and this needs to be in front of this. So this is currently in front of this. The bottle is in front of the cap. So what I want to do is I want to select the cap and go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Now that I've done that, I can select both of them. And let me move it over a little bit so it doesn't hit the other bottle. And let me bring it back down. Let me bring it down a little bit. Okay, so go to the Object menu. I'm sorry, Effect, and go to 3D and go Revolve. And I'm just going to revolve it. Hit Preview. Boom, there it is. Hit OK. There's my bottle. Okay? And it looks very much like this bottle right here. There you go. So this is the other thing that I want you to do. I hope I did this 2 times now. I hope that the way I did it helps you to understand. Now, personally, I like this bottle a little bit better, so I'm just going to delete this bottle, and we're going to focus on this one right here. So I'm going to click on this guy right there, and what I'm going to do is this. Watch. I'm going to come into my my Grapevine elements. I'm going to close that out because I'm done with it. Let me get this out of the way. Let me close that. We don't need it anymore. No. Okay, and let me go to my what's this, wine glass? I don't need this anymore either. Let me close that. And this is my chateau. Okay, so here's the deal. I do not have any symbols. Now, this is the important thing for you to understand. In order for me to put these graphics on the side of my graphic bottle, okay, they need to be symbols. And I want the background also as part of this. So let me go to my layers panel and let me unlock my background layer, because unlike my other one where I didn't use the background, I'm going to use these backgrounds as part of my labels. It's very important that you understand the difference. When I created the box, I did not use the background layers because the color was being applied. Let me go back to this. That color is being applied by my 3D Revolve. And so my elements are just basically elements against a no-colored background. But since this is going to be a label applied to a rendered bottle, I need these. I need that background. See the background paper? I need that paper. I need it to be more like a label. So I need that paper. So that's that blue or that purple that you see there. So I've unlocked that. So now I have, look, see, it's part of it. So I'm going to now come over to my symbols panel, and I'm going to select my entire label. That is my front label. I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it into my symbols panel. I'm going to call this front label. Okay? And I'm going to make it a graphic symbol. But just so that you understand, it doesn't matter if it says movie clip. I just make it a graphic because I like to make sure that I do these things. I hit OK. Now look, in the center there, you see that little cross? That means that this is no longer just a regular graphic, but that it's a symbol. And there's your symbol right there. you could see it. It's right inside there, my front label. I'm going to do the same thing with the back. I'm going to select the whole thing, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it in there. And I'm going to call this back label. Back label. And it's going to be a graphic, and hit OK. So back label. So now I'm going to select both of these guys. And I'm going to go Edit, Copy. OK. I'm going to go to my wine bottle. And what I'm going to do is go View, Fit Artboard and Window. And I'm going to start off by hiding my trace layer. And I'm going to zoom over here and get my little bottle right there. And I'm going to drag my bottle onto the page. Let me bring this thing over. Bring it right into the center here so that you can see what we're doing. And then I'm going to go Edit, Paste. There are my labels, okay? There are my labels. And now, so that you understand, watch what happens. Let me get this out of here. Since these are both symbols, when I go to my symbols panel, you see that they're there. My back label, my front label. Since they're symbols, they automatically get placed in my symbols layer. That means that they are now available and I can apply them to my mock-up, my model. Okay? So it's important that you understand that. I'm going to move these out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my bottle, just my bottle, and I am going to go to Appearance. I think the Appearance is at, yeah. Let me bring my Appearance out over to here. And I'm going to click on 3D Revolve. And let me bring my 3D Revolve over here. And let me hit Preview. There. And I'm going to go Map Art. And I'm going to map this art. I'm going to try to get this thing mapped onto my surface. I'm not exactly sure where this is. This is very tricky. Let's see. Got 8 surfaces. So let me see what my 8 surfaces are. Okay, so there's 1. There's 2. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. There's 8. Now, let me go back to 1. Might be 1. I'm going to try 1 because I'm not really sure. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to apply front label. There it is. And let's see if I can find it. Is it? Okay, so that's probably the back. That's probably what that is. All right, so let me go here and let me go to None. And let's go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Let's try it on this surface now. Front label. There it is. See it? And I'm going to drag this thing over, put it on the front. There it is. And I'm going to bring it down. It's very cool. I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to make it bigger. Make it bigger. Okay? And then I'm just going to position it. That's probably pretty good right there. And I'm going to hit, actually, I'm now going to go back to my back surface. Let's do this. Let's go to the back surface. Look it. Cool. Ah, isn't that great? Okay, let's go to the back. Let's go next surface. There's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it was actually 1. I think it's actually 1. And let's go and let's put the back on it. Back label. There you go. And let's put this thing on the back because I think this is actually the correct side for this. I'm almost sure of it. Yeah, this is the correct side for this. And let me just get this thing placed about like that. And I'm going to try to place it in a similar position as it is in the front. Okay. And hit OK. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to off-axis front. Let's go to off-axis back. And, oh, I didn't get it. Off-axis back, I don't see it. All right, so let's go to Map Art. Let's see if we can get this thing right. Let's see what's going on with this. Why am I not seeing this? Let's go to None. Okay, and let's see if we can figure this out, why we're not getting this. All right, let's see. There we go. Let's try that now. Let's go to Back Label. I'm not seeing it. I wonder why. None. Let's try it. That's funny. Whoop. Okay, and let's go to back label. Yeah, I'm not getting it. I don't know why. I'm not seeing it. I'll be darned. Well, I'll have to figure this out. I'm not exactly sure why this is happening. I'm not seeing my back label for some reason. It's just not showing up. I don't know why that is. It should be showing up right here. Let me see something. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it coming up. All right. I'm going to leave it there anyway because it should be on that side. This should be the side that it's on. For some reason, it's not showing up. Let's hit OK. And let's see. Let's go to off-axis front. Okay. See, now this is gone. So let's see. Map art. And let's go to wow, what's going on with this? Oh, this thing is really whacking out. Okay, so here's my problem. I think what's happening is this is just being overwhelmed. All right. Oh man, this I can't even get rid of this now. All right, I got a problem. I can't get out of here. See, this is one of the problems that we run into this thing. Okay, I got to close this thing because there we go. I have to close it because it's kind of like crashed on me. So let me get this thing out of here. Yeah, see, it's locked up. This is one of the problems when you're working with this. So what I would do with this is, boy, this thing's really, see how it's all jammed up? Yeah, we're all jammed up. That is unfortunately what happens with this 3D. Sometimes the 3D just goes wacky, which is exactly what's happened here. The 3D is just literally whacked out on me. And I'm stuck because I can't get to the bottom of this thing to shut it down. That's really what the problem is. I can't, oh, here we go. Hit cancel, there we go, I got it. Okay, so let's see here. Move this out of the way. Let's see here, map art. Let's try to map it again. Let's go to none. And let's go to front label. Let's bring it up here. Let's see if we can just do this again. Let's see if we get it. Yeah, cancel. Okay, so yeah, so I'm running into problems. It worked. You saw it work, but now it's suddenly just becoming crazy. So let me try it one more time. Let me just click on this guy. Let's go to 3D Revolve one more time. Let's preview this, and let's go to Map Art one more time, and let's try placing the front label on it again. And yeah, see, it's now all choked up. Yeah, it's now all choked up. Cancel. All right, let me do this. Let me hit cancel, and let me go File, Save, and let me close this. Let me close it, and let me open it. File, Open Recent Files, Line Bottom Line. Let's see if I reopen this thing. Let me try it one more time. Bring this thing back. You saw it. You saw it was on there. Anyway, let's go to Effect. Let's go to 3D, Extrude and Bevel. Oh, again, I'm now getting all messed up. So what I want to do is I want to go to my Appearance panel, and I want to click on that. There we go. Hit Preview, and then I want to Map Art, and let's try it one more time. Let's try to get the front label back in there. Yeah, see, now it's not showing. Now it's just not showing up. Okay, so let me try the back side again. Try one more time. All right, 7, and let's go front label. There it is. Okay, so now I got it. Let's bring this thing down, And let me bring it up in size. Hold on. There we go. Now let me position it. And that's probably a little bit big. Let me just make it a little bit smaller. I think that's probably good right there. Let me position it right. Probably a little bit off. That's better. Oh, it's jumpy. Can't get it to move just right. It's jumpy. There we go. I think that's probably good. Let's hit OK. And let's hit OK. And let's delete it. There we go. Now, there's my label. I should be able to put this on the back, but for some reason, it's just not working. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit this thing. I'm going to go Edit Copy. And then I'm going to come in here to my assignment right here. Edit, Paste. There's my bottle. Check it out. There's a beautiful presentation of the actual product that you're going to create. Okay? So I don't expect you to do this week. I'm demonstrating this. The reason I'm demonstrating this is because I would love to see you in the end do all this, and it is doable. What I will do is next week in our recorded sessions, I am going to do this again so that you can see me do this again, and each time we have a session, I'll do this again so that you can see me do it a number of times, and hopefully by watching me do this and watching these videos, you'll be able to do the whole thing that I just showed you here, and you'll end up with a really nice presentation of all these items. So I'm going to now move this into position, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Save As, all right? And I'm going to save this thing as a PDF, and this is going to be, yeah, Bill Sweeney done, all right? And it's going to be in my week 2 assignment, and hit Save, and hit Save PDF. And I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to open up the very first one here, okay? And what I'm going to do with this is, let me go View, Fit, Artboard, and Window. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this, delete this. I am going to scale down this page slightly, something more along the lines of this. Okay, and something more along the lines of this. And hit File, Save As, Save, there we go. And I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this assignment. We're just going to call this die line. Die line. And this is going to be a PDF as well. See, now there's a DES-244 Week 2 assignment, Bill Sweeney. Okay, and I think this is done. And this is going to be die line, and hit Save. And then hit Save PDF. All right, so now what I have here is, let me just show you. I have on my desktop, I have these 2 Illustrator files, and I have these 2 PDFs. So by clicking on the PDF, I'm going to open up Adobe Acrobat. Okay, so there's Adobe Acrobat. Now, what I want to do is go to Tools, and what I want to do is I want to create a PDF from multiple files, combine files, right? Hit Next, and then I'm going to add those files. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hold the Shift key down, and I'm going to select both of these guys, and I'm going to drag and I'm going to drop them in to here. Now, the PDF week 1, this is the first part, should be first. So I'm going to move that first. So this should be first, this should be second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go File, Save As. And it's going to be week 2 assignment. Yeah, choose, no, hit week 2 assignment. And let's see what we get here. Here we go. We're going to call this Week 2 assignment, Bill Sweeney. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can just get rid of the word done there. And then hit save. All right, give it a second. It's saving. Now, what I should be able to do here is, that should be it right there. Let's see if it is. There we go. But then, of course, it's not. Okay, so that's not right. Hold on, is that the wrong one? Let me see. Let me go File, Open, and let me go into my Open. You know what? I didn't get them combined. Let me try it again. All right, let me go to Tools, and let me go Create PDF from multiple files, combine files. Next, add files. Let me go in. Let me add. This is my die line. Come on. Jeez. No, it's PDF from multiple files. Next. Okay. Now this isn't working. My goodness. I'm having nothing but trouble here. Look at this. Oh. Good Lord. Hold on. I don't know, man. This is just not my day. All right, let's try it one more time. Let's go to Tools. Let's go to Create PDF. Multiple files, combine files. Next. Okay, add files. Let me see. Let me try it one more time. This is turning into a real piece of monstrous work. Let's drag that in there. There we go. And did I get the other one? Yes, I did. I want to move this forward like that. Okay, now let's go combine. And they're combined. Okay, they're combined. And there's my binder. There's my first submission. I'm just doing this so that you understand how to go ahead and submit this to me. So this is my first page submission. And then if I drag it down like this, there's my second submission. Now, I don't expect you to do all this. I really don't. I expect you to do this. Look, look, look. I expect you to do this right here. And I expect you to do this right here. If you decide to do this box, and if you decide to do this now, fine. I love it. But if you don't do this now, you can do this in the future. The only reason I'm doing all this is because I'd like you to see how I would like you to end up with this thing. Because if you do all this work, this is a gorgeous piece that you can put up online, and it would be a tremendous project for you, you know, in your portfolio. So I'm showing you how to do this stuff in the hopes that this will make a difference to you, and it'll be something that you'll try to do. Okay? So the only thing I got to do now is save this thing. Let's go File, Save As. And what I'm going to do is, it's going to be in Week 2 the assignment folder, and I'm going to change this from Binder 1 to DES-244, and then underscore WEEK-2, and then ASSIGNMENT assignment dash, oops, assignment Bill Sweeney, DES-244 Week 2 assignment Bill Sweeney, and hit save. And it's saving. And now if I close this guy, I come in here, and DES-244 assignment Bill Sweeney. Let's see if this is it. Let me open it up and see. So there it is. Nope, that's not it. Let me see. Where are you? DES assignment Bill Sweeney. Let me go. Assignment Bill Sweeney. There we go. See, page 1, page 2. Page 1, page 2. So really, I want this, and I want at least this. If you do this, great. If you don't do this now, that's okay. I did this because I needed you to see that these things are possible to do, and I think it's very important for you to understand that you can make a really phenomenal presentation if you just go the extra mile doing this and doing this. So really, that's the whole thing, all right? So there's your assignment. That's what I expect to see. I expect to see this, and I expect to see that right there. And then, of course, if you do this, fine. If you don't, there's next week or the following week. You're probably going to do this in the 4th week. It's week 2. I wanted you to see me do this. I wanted to go through the process of doing this early as possible so that you can see how it's done. I don't know you, and I haven't spoken to you, so I don't know exactly whether or not this is something you already know. I thought it would be a good idea to show you how to do it. So here you have it, okay? So there you are. I'm basically done for today, and you know I'm in Blackboard tomorrow from 7 o'clock until 11 o'clock if you need to come in and talk to me, or you can give me a call. You have my cell number. I've sent it to you. Good luck with the assignment, and let me know if you have any problems.